to another episode of the Format Podcast Live, special Saturday morning edition. Sorry for the delay, guys, but I have a special guest who will be here in just a moment. We were kind of waiting on that to get set up. As always, you know, we've got some good topics in line for you, and you can see them here by the rundown, and we will get to those in just a couple minutes. But in the meantime, while we get our special guest in, let's go ahead and do the usual. If you're watching here on YouTube, make sure you go ahead, click that subscribe, that like, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept aware anytime we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in The Format Podcast, and we should come right up. If you enjoy the content as you listen, make sure you give us a like, a 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. And write it down, put it in your phones, make a note of it. The Format Podcast is live Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. And finally, if you're really and truly enjoying the podcast and you want to help the show continue to grow, make sure you go ahead, click that join button, join the channel. We're going to have some exclusive content just for you. Yes. We're going to do that. And as I said, we do have a special guest we're waiting for in just a minute or two here. But in the interim, man, thank you guys for being here. I see Laker Nation in the chat. Good morning, Laker Nation. First ever member of the channel. Shout out Sid Bubba, also a member of the channel. Shout out, what's going on, Chief? How you doing this morning? Who else is in the chat? Let me know while we go ahead and wait here, man. So we got March Madness coming, and I was thinking about this, but I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. It's gonna be hard for me to cover that. I'll probably do a little bit of stuff on it, but it's gonna be tough because I really don't even pay attention to college basketball the way I used to. I can say probably the last time I really paid serious attention to college basketball was a long time ago. Maybe like watching the tournament really intently was, I want to say, like 2003. When Maryland won the national championship with Juan Dixon. That was a great run that he went on. But I've watched the tournament here and there. I've watched, again, not as nearly as intently as I did when I was coming up, but I also watched some stuff like, let me see. I watched like some of those UConn runs and things like that. And so that's what I did. All right, y'all. So here we go. I have a special guest, as I mentioned, for you. And I am going to bring them in right now. You know her as the host of the Sports Tea, hostess of the Sports Tea podcast. And that's my homegirl, Dominique, who was East Coast, but she turned on us and went to the West. What's going on, Dom?
Hey, Bruce. Good morning. Happy Saturday. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's been a long time since we had an opportunity to really to get in here and chop it up and talk sports. So I think last time you were on was even before you started your own channel. So it's good to see you here. So before we even do that, man, tell the people where they can find you, and then we'll go ahead and get into it.
Well, good morning, everyone. You guys can find me at Sports Tea. So Sports Tea on YouTube at Sports Tea with a Z. So it's Sports SPORTZ TEA. There
we go. So shout out to Sports Team, man. We got her up early, so that was kind of my fault. Got her up early on the weekend, but she was kind enough to join us here so we could talk some NBA basketball, and we are going to go ahead and we're going to get right to it. There you go, Laker Nation. All right, let's get right to it, man. Normally we do, you know what? Even before we get to this first topic, let me say this also. Sports Tea is on a time crunch this morning, so what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to take our normal calls after the topics, but we're going to do no more than 2 calls per topic. So if you want to get in, try to get in quickly as soon as I say, you know, the phone lines are open, and we're going to really keep it strict to the 5-minute rule today. All right, guys, we got to respect our guest time. All right. Sports Tea, Dom, before we get going with our 4 main topics, obviously, we know the biggest story of the sports media world right now is LeBron versus Stephen A. And even though you and I, we converse a lot, I hadn't had an opportunity to get your thoughts on this. So take a quick couple of minutes and just give us a brief synopsis. I've done like probably 8 to 10 hours of content on this alone in the last week or so. And people just keep coming out with more and more stuff and having different opinions and takes. But I never got a chance to get yours. So go ahead and share. I won't interrupt you. And I just want to hear what you got to say about this.
So you want to know What is the exact question, Bruce? Like,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of brief synopsis of your thoughts on this particular topic on the whole
we are
LeBron versus
starting.
Stephen A thing.
Oh, LeBron versus Stephen A. Well, sheesh. I think it's so many different layers, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you want my opinion on first? LeBron's behavior,
Yeah.
Stephen A's reply, like.
Yes.
So I think that LeBron's behavior is that of, and I've said this before, he is an obsessed soccer mom, right? But I don't think that
That's
that has
good.
anything to do with why he pressed Stephen A. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that he wanted a clout chasing moment. He wanted to look like a tough guy on camera. I think that he wanted to make it look like it was about Bronny, but really I think he's felt some anger towards Stephen A. Smith probably like since the NBA season started. Stephen A he was attacking him. I think for running out of social media, I think LeBron felt something about that. Um, and just I think he feels heavily criticized, but Stephen A is supposed to be on his side. He has been. He's put him automatically second to Michael Jordan. That's some sort of handshake deal that he has with Clutch. Whether he's paid by Clutch Sports or not, this is something that he's agreed to say. In my opinion, he has agreed somehow to say, "Hey, you are in this GOAT debate. It's just you and Michael Jordan." Whether it's an agreement he had with Clutch or this is something that the media banded together to say, hey, we're all going to band together and this is going to be the narrative that we push on this network, ESPN, right? And so I just think that LeBron feels as though he owns the media, controls certain aspects of the media, and you will not disrespect him a certain way. There's certain people that he expects a certain level of respect from. And I think that Stephen A. Smith is one of those people. I don't think that he expects it from a Skip Bayless or expects it from certain people in the media that have historically came at him a certain way. Even when it came to the Bronny father-son duo, Stephen A. Smith has been supportive of that. So when he came out to criticize LeBron's decisions as a father as it pertained to Bronny, I think that LeBron felt disrespected by Stephen A. Smith. I do think that that's how he felt, but I also believe that he could have spoken to him in private. He could have called him up because we all know that he called up Magic Johnson personally. Magic Johnson did an about face, a complete.
Did not know he called Magic on that. Wow.
He
Okay.
had to have. If he didn't call, how did Magic Johnson come out the next day and say that Bronny James can be an NBA player after saying he was completely not ready to be and needed to tell his father to put him in the G
Right.
League?
Right.
So when someone hears something, I just think it was either Rich Paul. If it wasn't LeBron James, it was somebody that reached out to Magic Johnson and said, hey, you know, this is hard on Bronny. You got to go easy on him. Or this is, or this is LeBron's dream of playing. Whatever it is, somebody called these people and said, hey, go easier on LeBron and Bronny. Get your foot off their neck. There's no way. Literally, one day he's on Jimmy Kimmel completely blasting LeBron and Bronny, talking about the father's decision as a parent, and also the child. And you need to go back to your father and tell him, Dad, put me in the G League now. And the next day, he's damn near apologizing and retracting those comments. So it's because someone reached out to him. We don't really hear Magic Johnson retract. So, what I'm saying is that LeBron thought that he could roll up and pull up on somebody like Stephen A. Smith. He felt that he could bully him. He wasn't going to bully Magic Johnson. He's not going to roll up on Magic Johnson courtside. And we all know that Magic will be courtside at will, right? So he's not going to pull up on certain people. He's not pulling up on Charles Barkley.
I mentioned that. Yep.
He's not pulling up on any of these other people. He believes that he has power over Stephen A. Smith from whatever their relationship has been in the past. So That's the disappointing part for LeBron's behavior. That's my opinion on his behavior, is that it was a clout chasing move.
All right. Well, those are great thoughts. And real quick, I'll just respond and then we'll go ahead and get started. I never even considered it that way because I'm like, why would Magic of all people need to kowtow to anybody in NBA history other than maybe Mike? And he's almost up there with Mike, right? Like Magic, we know what Magic is, what he represents to the NBA and to the game of basketball. He doesn't need to kowtow to anyone. So the fact that somebody may have reached out to him and said, hey, take it easy, that's confounding to me. I don't get that at all, but I guess.
I think he was asked nicely. I don't believe that Magic Johnson can be bullied by LeBron. So I believe he called him and asked him nicely, you know, just as a player in the fraternity, as, you know, a former Laker, as, you know, a Laker brother. I think he called him up and said, hey, this whole situation is hard on me and my family, especially on Bronny. He didn't ask for this. Maybe it wasn't LeBron specifically, you know, but I just don't believe that Magic Johnson could be bullied into saying a completely different thing the following day. I think it was 24 to 48 hours before he pretty much changed his statement. Am I wrong about that, Bruce?
I think you're about right. I had actually forgotten about that, him like backtracking, but I think you're right.
Yeah, we can't forget. When have we seen Magic Johnson backtrack?
Yeah.
So I believe that, I believe they appealed to some sort of emotional side because I don't think that they could bully Magic Johnson the way that the way that they pulled up on Stephen A. Smith like that. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, you had who was that? Markieff Morris behind LeBron. It was just like a gang walking up to Stephen A. Like LeBron James, 6'9", you know, 1 million pounds, needs backup for Stephen A.
Right.
That was just so crazy to me. And you see him you know, flexing at Stephen A.
That was the crazy part to me. Like he tried to physically intimidate him. Yeah.
And for what?
For what?
Right. Physically intimidate him. Were you about to hit him? You're not going to hit Stephen A. Smith. You're not going to. You're not even really thinking about it. And so you're flexing at him, and then you're looking up at the camera as you're walking away. Like, who's got this to go viral? Yeah, I want everybody to know I'm going to crash out for Bronny. You know, it's just like, it's all these things. It's, to me, Ryan Clark nailed it. He said it the best. You know, he wanted Bronny to see that he was going to crash out for him. He wanted the world to see that he's a tough guy, that he's not too much of a billionaire to have that moment to get low. You know, like it's just like somebody who's never had money and then they, you know, they make it and then they do things to prove like, hey, I still know how to keep it hood. That's LeBron in that moment. And it's like, LeBron, you haven't had a tough moment since you were probably 15 years old. You know?
Right.
Since turning 15 and the spotlight's been on him, what adversity, what have you had to face?
No, you're absolutely right.
You had to be a tough guy. He's been ducking the tough moments since he's in high school, Bruce.
No, I'm with you. I believe you.
4'10" Drew has to close the games in high school.
Hey, look.
Somebody's been closing games for LeBron since he's been in high school. And you see Markieff Morris right behind him. That's his new dad in his life. That's his new, you know, like he needs somebody. And I wish that somebody would just, you know, make LeBron understand that he is loved, you know, by so many. And he should stop He should stop focusing on the people who don't love him, the supposed haters. It's exhausting.
Well, there you go. Bruce, real quick, man. What up, Bruce? Shout out to another member of the show. Appreciate you. So you said years of buildup finally came to a head. That's a lie because we know that Stephen A. Smith has been one of the biggest LeBron defenders this whole time. So stop that. Every time he talks about LeBron without fail, to the point now that he actually runs a lower thirds graphic on his show about LeBron's a great father, great husband, great activist, great philanthropist, this, that, and the third. So stop it. He has consistently said LeBron is the second greatest player of all time, lying about that too. Stephen A. has consistently been at the head of the ESPN machine, which has propped up LeBron for all these years. Stop it. Secondly, Bruce, it's not LeBron slander. Go look up slander. You're using that term very, very loosely, bro. That is not slander. Stop it. All right. But yo, Thank you for your thoughts on that, Sports T. That's something that we could really go down a rabbit hole on. So let's get right into our first topic. Jason Tatum. I actually heard you discuss this briefly on your show maybe a day or two ago. And so the question now is a very simple question. Is Jason Tatum a superstar? And there's a reason that I asked that question, because obviously we know how good he is, how skilled he is. A lot of people feel a way like he doesn't get the respect that he deserves. A lot of people think he should be, I know he thinks that he should be in the discussion for face of the league. I know that he has made some crazy comments to the effect of he wants to be seen like Steph and LeBron. And I'm like, stop, man, stop. He makes these Kobe comments and all this. And I'm like, stop, man, stop. Just concentrate on hooping and trying to win. The more you win, the less they can say. Like, I don't understand what is the obsession with him for being face of the league. So first thing I want to do, I have a clip here of Colin Cowherd on the Colin Cowherd podcast. And I don't know if you listen to Hoops Tonight with Jason Timpf. It's okay. It's on the volume. But anyway, they had a discussion about 4 minutes here. I clipped this. And what I like to do is I'll play it, I'll stop, we'll comment, and then we'll get back into it. And they were discussing Jason Tatum, this very topic. So let's go ahead and we'll get into this a little bit. No, Bruce, Jason Tatum is not a superstar. You made me jump the shark. He's an incredible player, but he's not a superstar. But let's go ahead and get into some of these comments, and Sports T and I will rock back and forth, and then we'll come back and further discuss.
There's a real gap in what fans view as hate and what I view as contextualization. So every time I talk about Jason Tatum, I always say he's great. He's a great player. He's a top 8 player in the league. I don't believe he's top 3. I trust SGA offensively more. I trust Jokic is all around better. I trust Giannis defensively more. I think Luka at his best is a better, more natural offensive player. Hell, if you gave me 1 quarter to win it all, Game 7, I'd take LeBron over Jason Tatum.
So let me say this. You all know that I'm not a LeBron guy. I agree with him. If you give me 1 quarter in Game 7 to win it all, I would take LeBron, because LeBron has, the numbers bear it out. He may not be the greatest last shot guy, but he is arguably the best Game 7 player in NBA history. Like, he does that. So I definitely wanted to talk on that. And secondly, we love what a lot of people love what Jokic is doing, but I'm so lost as to how people are like, Colin Cowherd is one here. Jokic is a better all-around player. How can you be a better all-around player when half of the game is missing for you? I don't understand this. Sports T, Dom, what are your first thoughts on what Colin had to say here before we get back into it?
Jokic is not an all-around player, so I agree with you to that point.
Yes, correct.
No, I really do. I think that Jason Tatum is a top, 5, top 10 player in the league, but wherever we rank him, top 5, top 10, top 3, if he's your favorite player in the league, top 1, let's just say, right? I do think that Jason Tatum is a superstar. And I think that in order for us to even discuss superstar, then what we have to do is agree to what the criteria is for superstar. Mm-hmm. And so that's the problem. They don't want to apply the criteria across the board. So they want to apply what was a superstar for Michael Jordan to Jason Tatum. And I just don't think that, I think that the league has changed. I think that what makes someone a superstar has changed. Jason Tatum trends on social media. He's got a signature shoe deal. He's got a brand. Okay. They call him the anomaly. He's the first option on his team.
He's
got commercials, several multi-million-dollar endorsement deals. Players to me that have commercials and are big in their city and, I would say nationwide, I'm willing to call them a superstar. I think that he's a superstar in basketball. He's a household name. People know Jason Tatum.
Is he a household name? I don't know that people who aren't basketball fans know who Jason Tatum is.
People who are basketball fans don't know who Jason Tatum is. I think that that's crazy. You can't be a basketball fan and say that you don't know who Jason Tatum is. I think that that's crazy. I'm going to be really honest with you. Now, if you just started watching basketball today, then perhaps you don't know who Jason Tatum is, but they might not know who LeBron James is if they started watching basketball today. Mm-hmm. But all I'm saying is that, and no, Jason Tatum is not on the level of LeBron James. He's, I think mega star, right? But Jason Tatum is, to me, he is a superstar just for, he's a multiple year all-star. He's all NBA. He's
Yeah,
got, I think he has the highest contract in the league right now.
in history, 315.
Well, of course, in NBA history, they're going to keep getting higher and higher. So everybody's going to have the highest. But, Kevin Garnett was that person. Was he considered a superstar? Absolutely. He was a superstar before he won a title.
Yeah, I think so.
But he wasn't boisterous. He didn't have Kevin Garnett. Look, I absolutely adored Kevin Garnett, but there were guys that were quiet, that were the strong, silent type, like Jason Tatum. And they were considered superstars. David Robinson was a superstar. The Admiral. Tim Duncan was a superstar.
No.
He was a superstar.
Nah, Timmy, these superstar players, I don't think.
People want to make superstar into something, Bruce, in my opinion, that is mythical. And a superstar, I don't think that the same reasons why someone's a superstar applies to everybody. I really don't. It's very subjective, but I mean, to me, superstars is based on somebody's play and the rewards that they are given as a result of it in the court, like having multi-million-dollar endorsements, being a national face that people recognize in commercials. If you have a commercial out there for a national brand, I would consider you a superstar. Absolutely.
So let me say this. You said a lot. I appreciate that. I have never felt like Jason Tatum is a superstar. I think he's a superstar talent, a superstar player. He has superstar ability. He's a superstar talent. I think that there's something missing in terms of that connection outside of the game, and more people. I hear what you're saying about him having national brands. I think that honestly has more to do with him appearing to be relatively palatable to most Americans as a player. I think that also has to do with the fact that the NBA is desperate for an American to kind of hold that mantle, right? And Edwards has made it clear that he doesn't want to do it, right? And Edwards has made it clear that he doesn't want to be that guy. And of course, you have who people believe are the best players in the league. Most of them are foreign. And we know that in America, we want to gravitate towards our own. And it's a lot harder to make a foreign player a superstar. So as such, I think that the way Tatum is attempting to be promoted is more so that effort to manufacture a homegrown superstar. I really feel that way. And I just think there's something missing personality wise. There's a disconnect. And I think that has a lot to do with it. But let's get back to what Cowherd and Tim had to say, and then we'll come back and wrap this and take some calls.
Actually would, but he's a great player. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's a nice kid. But I've said this, there are games where I'm like, where is he? Is he on the
That's
floor?
True too.
Now, this was not one of them. He was terrific. And I've watched him now play live 3 or 4 times. I get to the arena early. He's the first guy on the floor. But it is interesting that people get very upset about this. And I've said this in the Olympics, when you're playing with the world's best players, he was a coach's decision, do not play against Serbia. And he had 2 in the gold medal game, and that LeBron and Steph flourished in those games. So there are players that sometimes when are around great players. LeBron was like this very early in his first Olympics. He was like, finally, it opened up more of LeBron. And then there are players that actually love playing within a system. I think Jason is one of those players. I think his DNA is he's a teammate. You know, he likes being part of a collective. He chose Duke so he could play with other great players, right? Like Krzyzewski makes you play defense. He was there with, Grayson Allen, Luke Kennard, if I'm remembering right. So my take is, I think he's a star. I think the NBA's only ever had 3 true faces of the league: Magic, Michael, LeBron. I think Bird was a reluctant, because he was conjoined with Magic. He was face of the league, but Magic was the face of the league. He loved it. French Lick, Indiana, pimples on the face, grumpy Larry Bird didn't feel face of the league, but you join him at the hip with Magic, and it's like, okay. And Shaq and Kobe, I think you could argue as a pair, were face of the league for several years. Duncan never was. Akeem never was. Karl Malone never was. So what do you make of kind of my criticism criticism of Tatum, it's not a criticism. It's more like, listen, at any one time, the NBA has two faces or one face of the league, two global stars, and about 15 other stars, Carmelo Anthony guys. Is that unrealistic to say?
No, I mean, I heard your rant about Jason Tatum, and frankly, like there is truth to the fact that Tatum lacks like the traditional NBA aura, right? Like he's a good dunker, but he's not Vince Carter. He's a good shooter, but he's not Kevin Durant. He's big and strong, but he's not LeBron. He's a good playmaker, but he's not Luka Doncic. He's a good defender, but he's not what Kawhi Leonard was in his prime. And he doesn't really have a very big personality. So like, it's really hard to like put together, you know, something specific about Jason Tatum to like market really well as far as like face of the league type of stuff. That said, like he's really good at all of those things still.
Yes.
So he's become like, just by virtue of him being a jack of all trades, he's become one of the most useful players in the entire NBA. I agree with you. I think Jokic is better. I think Giannis is better. I think Shai's better. I think Luka Doncic is better. I think Tatum brings more on a night in, night out basis than Anthony Davis does. I think Tatum brings more on a night in, night out basis than that next tier of guys, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Steph Curry. I think he deserves credit for being like a foundational, like reliable, you can count on this dude type of superstar. But I also think everything you said regarding he does not have a flashpoint in his skill set. There's nothing like that. There's not one.
Think about that.
So we'll leave it right there. One of the interesting things, I remember this now, that I heard you say on your show, Dom, is that Tatum misses a signature move, right? And most of our greats, not Magic because he was a pure passer, but, you know, obviously Mike and Kobe and Dream and Kareem, those guys, the guys that we talk about, a lot of them really have that signature move. And Tatum is kind of missing that in terms of one thing that he really goes to and kind of identifies with, and people can identify with him as a player. So I think that's something that hurts him. Again, I'm a diehard Celtics fan. Anyone who knows me knows this. I think Tatum is great. I don't think he's a superstar, and I'm also frustrated by his. I think his focus is in the wrong place, right? Because let's see here. He says, I don't really want to insert myself into things that can be debated. Did he win a championship? Yes. Did he win gold medals? Yes. Was he always a part of winning seasons? Blah, blah, blah. You check all the boxes, but it's like he's begging for this instead of going out and taking it, right? And I don't think he has the type of mentality. He's got the skill set, but I don't think he has the mentality to go take it. And I think that's part of why he's not that guy.
I don't think that there's anything in Jason Tatum's mentality, even in that statement that he said. He's just saying, look, these are the facts. You know, if you want to give me the credit, great. If not, I do think that he's been begging for several seasons, whether it's for MVP, all these things. The NBA, the media, they don't like when you beg. They don't like when the players beg. Joel Embiid was begging for years. I couldn't believe that they gave it to him that year that he begged. But I do want to go back to a point that you made, Bruce. You said that the NBA is desperate for an American born face of the league. And I disagree. I think that they're desperate actually to perpetuate the foreign players and leaders of the foreign NBA players to be the face of the league. They are giving the MVPs to the foreign players every single year. So MVP is associated with face of the league. And so when you consistently are giving it to guys who are not two-way players, who have zero athleticism, there's lesser of an appreciation for guys like Jason Tatum who show up to the NBA looking and playing like real NBA players, playing on both sides of the floor, being, playing team basketball, great team basketball. You get dinged for whatever reason. There's narratives because there's Jaylen Brown on his team who at times, obviously to me, they toggle back between being the first option. And I think the real issue here is that it's that there is a debate as to who is the best player on the Celtics. And a lot of times we will go and agree that it's Jason Tatum, but there's other times when it's questionable. Is it Jaylen Brown? Is he the guy in the fourth quarter? I've analyzed some Celtics games, and it's Jaylen Brown who's exploding in the fourth quarter and Jason Tatum disappearing. But that is also an example that we've seen in other superstars, like a LeBron James disappearing in the fourth quarter. You know,
Sure.
him showing up heroic in fourth quarters at 40 years old is a lot less impressive than, you know, being able to do that in your prime when you are being considered the first option.
Sorry.
You know, he is being considered the second option now on his team doing these things. So
Mhm.
Jason Tatum is considered the leader on the Celtics. I think that, you know, he should be given respect as such. Colin Cowherd, if we are going based on his standards, that there's only one superstar in the league, then no, Jason Tatum's not a superstar. So it just depends on what criteria you're using to define what superstars are. I believed that, you know, Charles, I believe that everybody that was in Space Jam, the original, was a superstar. You know, Jason Tatum, he was in Starting Five Netflix documentary. I watched that documentary. His mom is famous. His mom is probably considered a little bit more tougher than he is. And, you know, what I did agree with out of the soundbite was that I don't think Jason Tatum's a great dunker at all. He doesn't put that on display. I see him go to the rim very weak. So he's very big, he's very strong, but he doesn't, for me, I don't see him actually showing that aggression in the paint as much as I would like to see that. And, you know, watching him miss dunks in the Olympics, miss layups, you know, those things are frustrating to me watching his game. But, you know, I do think that he's a decent shooter. I do think that he comes up big for his team. And I do think he's a superstar. But if we're talking about megastar, if we're talking about the face of the league, no, he's not the face of the league. But I do think he's got a great mentality. He's, you know, he lets his game speak for itself, Bruce. He gets out there and plays as a team. And these comments that he's making, he's being asked. He's being approached about. He's being asked these questions, and I think he's handling it well. I mean, getting benched in the Olympics, he was professional. He's been nothing but professional, and I think that we need to give Jason Tatum credit for that. We never hear him come out and put down other players. All he's doing, even in that clip you just posted, was talking about his own game. People are going to question that, insult him, and say he's not a superstar when he's got the highest contract in NBA history, multiple endorsement deals, global commercials. I think he's a Gatorade endorsement, right? I'm pretty sure he's with Gatorade.
Yes, he is.
He's
Gatorade, Frito-Lay,
dating LMA,
Jordan Brand,
a superstar R&B artist. You know, he's famous too. Like, you know, Bronny James is practically a superstar. That's going to be a debate too. In about a month or two, it's going to be a debate. He just shot a 3 in Jokic's face, right in his face, drained the 3. Is Bronny James a superstar? Probably. Where's Transformer? Is he in the, like, is Transformer?
Yeah, he's in the chat. He's in the chat.
Bronny James a superstar?
No, because you got to have on and off court. Come on now. And we will get back to that Bronny James supposedly in Jokic's face. We'll get to that next topic. But but no, and I'll just say this before we go ahead and open up the lines. When it comes to the I'll leave it there. But yeah, I don't agree. I think there's just something, there is a disconnect somewhere. And real quick, when it comes to his game, and I did mention, I believe he has a superstar game. One thing that drives me crazy is he has the ability to put it on the floor anytime he wants, and he's got a great mid-range, but he's always bailing the defense out with threes. And I think that's lazy. And that's just me.
He that makes him not a superstar?
No. I was just talking about his game in general.
Look, he's yes, he's begging. I know you don't like it, Bruce, but that doesn't make him not a superstar.
Well, come on. I just think there's a disconnect.
How many guys are out there crying? That's the culture. He's not the only one. Devin Booker came out crying that he didn't get MVP. Joel Embiid cried for MVP. LeBron James cried
but that's a different thing.
LeBron James just flopped when Jason Tatum was doing that drive. Did you see that?
I did. And
then went out of the game talking about a groin injury. Come on.
Hey, look, man.
He's a superstar. So the things that I think that you're holding, the bar that you're holding Jason Tatum to, I just want us to hold everybody to that same standard. And I'm not saying that you don't.
Okay.
I just think you're being very harsh on him. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, I would love for him to be one. I just don't. I think that as a lower level player, like a next rung down, I think he's got a lot in common with Tim Duncan. And I don't think Tim Duncan was ever a superstar either, although he was always in the argument for best player in the league. That's just, I think that.
I don't know. LeBron James is one of the most unlikable superstars that you've ever seen. You don't like his personality. You don't like the things that he does. What charisma does he have? The salsa dancing? Nobody liked that.
Look,
Nobody liked it. Nobody liked his sneakers. Nobody buys them. They go on sale. I wear LeBron James. I play with the LBJs every single year. I'm buying them for like $72.
I actually had a pair of LeBrons back in like 06. I lost them somewhere.
They went on sale.
Right. But yeah, we'll go ahead at this point and we'll open up the phone lines. We'll take 2 calls, guys, and let's keep it tight to the 5-minute rule. All right, because we got to respect our guest time this morning. So let's go ahead. 904-219-8264. And while we're waiting, Bruce. Jason Tatum is not yet better than Paul Pierce. He probably will finish that way, but he's not better than Paul Pierce. Sid Bubba, good morning. How you doing, my brother?
Oh, good morning. I'm doing wonderful, my brother.
All right. Great to hear from you, Chief.
How are you? Welcome.
Morning.
Hey, but as far as JT being a superstar, I'm in agreement with you, Bruce. He's a superstar talent.
Yeah.
I like him. He's a great brother.
Yeah.
But if you've been a Celtics fan, can't see him as a superstar, watch it out.
I guess that's fair.
Watch it out.
Yeah.
The second thing, what has he ever done in the playoffs? Playoff moments to say, wow, I remember JT doing this. He didn't.
Well, let me say this real quick. There's been a couple of winner go home games that JT has gone off. I want to say like the year they won the year they lost to Golden State in the finals. It was winner go home game 6 against Milwaukee, and I think he put 46 or 48 on him. Just played out of his mind. So he's capable of doing that. But go ahead, man.
Okay, but did he close the deal?
Yeah. They went to the finals.
No. Okay. They went to the finals when they played. But when they played Golden State. He was horrible. He was horrible.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now, that's why he got to have that defining moment to say, yes, I am, to say, yes, I am. And we can look at it. You saying what's missing, something like that's missing. They got to be memorable. Mm-hmm. A casual got to be like, you know what? I remember when he did such and such. Mm. Now, LeBron failed, but LeBron also had his moments when he came through, against your Celtics. That 45, right. 15, and 5.
I got to admit it. Yep.
And then Steph, I was pretty hard on Steph for a minute, but then when he played the Celtics, Steph finally came through to say, okay, for me, he always been a superstar because of his influence. But I think that influence, you got to be the influencer instead of trying, of the league, for me to be the superstar. Mm-hmm. And you got to go through something. When did JT ever just really have it? When did he ever just catch a shrapnel of criticism and then the brother came up and say, bam, I told you, I showed you?
That's a good question.
Those are things that I was looking at for him to be a superstar. But I'm saying, very likable guy, respectable, all facets of the game. He plays great defense, offense, put a shutdown moment on KD when the Celtics played him, but he gotta do something that's memorable to move the needle to be a superstar, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Anything else, man?
Dropping 50 at will is not memorable things. He dropped 50 on KD and the Nets in the playoffs. He completely dismantled Kevin Durant. People were calling him Kevin Durant.
I remember that. That was a great series.
He made Kevin Durant look completely pedestrian. I'm talking about one-on-one, just literally locked him up, shut him down. Kevin Durant could not handle pressure defense. Jason Tatum was able to prove that with physical defense that you could shut Kevin Durant down post his Achilles injury. And look, all I'm saying is that, if if Jason Tatum is not a superstar, like what constitutes a superstar? Is it what Colin Cowherd said, that there's only room for one? Because look, I think the only legitimate criticism that Jason Tatum's not a superstar, talent, player, or just, aura, whatever you want to call it, is the argument that he's never been the clear-cut best player in the league. To me, that is the only argument. He's never been the clear-cut best player in the league, but neither has Kevin Garnett. I would call him a superstar. Hakeem Olajuwon was a superstar to me. I think he was a superstar. If he was called the Dream.
He's my favorite player of all time. That's tough on him, whether or not
it's charisma. Like, he doesn't have charisma. Do you know that people are still quoting Hakeem Olajuwon and the fact that he said that Michael Jordan is a far superior player? That's charisma. Giannis, he's got charisma. I don't like. He's corny. Jason Tatum is corny. He's boring, but that's his personality. And I just think that, like, just because someone doesn't have an Ant-Man personality, it doesn't make them not a superstar. It makes them just their own kind of superstar. He's a different person. Why does he have to be like this person or that person to be considered a superstar? His play has dictated that. He is the number one option on one of the greatest franchises in the world, one of the most winningest franchises. You cannot not be a superstar. And he is way better. And I just want to say this for the record. Everybody, look into my eyes. Jason Tatum is way better, and I want to say by a wide margin, than Luka Doncic.
Mic drop.
Okay.
All right, Sid, I'm going to let you go, man. I saw Nino trying to get in here, man. I appreciate the call, brother. Thanks so much.
All right.
Nino, go ahead. Give us a call back, man. Give us a call back. Luka. Is it because Luka plays the LeBron system and doesn't
LeBron James, and this is for Transformer. I hope you hear me. Look into my eyes as well. LeBron James at 40 years old is better than Luka Doncic by a wide margin at 25 years old.
I think you're right about that. I don't know if it's a wide margin, but I do think he's better. Nino, what's going on, my brother? How you doing this morning?
What's going on with y'all, man? Y'all all right?
Maintaining, brother, maintaining. Good to have you in here. What you got?
Y'all having a great discussion, because what I'm hearing, and I hear it all the time, I think it's based on opinion, based on just the word superstar. So I think what we're confusing with great player and superstar, I think that's what basketball gets confused. Because people will say Tim Duncan wasn't a superstar, and I can't disagree with it. But he's still a great player, all time great. I'm talking about a super great player. But nobody really just that whatever makes you a superstar, he didn't have it. He wasn't nobody wanted to be Tim Duncan when we was coming up. But he was all time great. He was super great talent. He wanted the Tim Duncan talent, but he didn't want to be Tim Duncan. Like Paul George to these kids will be a superstar. But if you ask me, is Paul George an all-time great? I'm going to say no.
Okay.
So I think we confusing superstar with all-time great. Like even Doug said, Brandon is a what is a superstar? Brandon is a superstar. That don't mean he's a great basketball player. He's not a good basketball player right now. By no means NBA-wise. But everybody knows him. He got multiple jersey sales. So I agree. It's like I agree with Dome. By basketball means these guys are superstars, but I think what you saying is superstar is something different than just a basketball player, right?
Yeah, I think
Is Chris? I ask y'all this: is Chris Brown a superstar? Would y'all consider Chris Brown a superstar?
Who's who?
Do you know Chris Brown, Bruce? Don't show your age.
You talking about the musical artist?
Right.
Yes, I know who Chris Brown is. Yes.
Chris Brown would be a superstar till you say, all right, it's cool. Now, is he a superstar compared to MJ, to Michael Jackson?
No.
Then you go to looking like, he's a superstar talent, but MJ is a superstar.
Next level.
Everywhere you go, everything he do, there's something about him. He can stand up at the Super Bowl. So I think the superstar is adding something different than just the game of basketball.
Agreed.
I don't know. So that's just my take on it. Shout out to Dumb, man. Shout out to you.
Tatum goes to the Super Bowl and get booed.
That too. That too.
No, Tatum don't have enough haters. He might just he might just be a likable guy. You don't want to be too likable either.
I think you do. I think you do. The idea that it's better to be hated is just crazy to me.
That is crazy.
And that is, LeBron fans, you guys, man, very special.
Think about it.
I like the reframe. Look, it's a reframe. I'm okay with it.
Just think about it. Bron got a lot of fans, but it's a lot of people don't like him. MJ, now he got a lot of fans across the world. But when he was coming up with them pictures and stuff, people didn't like MJ. He had a few haters back in the day.
Well, the main reason people didn't like him, and that's Detroit and New York, is because those were primary competition, and he, obviously the Detroit rivalry, and then New York couldn't get over the Bulls hump. And I know that Sports T can speak to that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was grounded in basketball. It wasn't like I hate Michael Jordan as a person.
Right.
That wasn't really the narrative, So, but people actually hate LeBron.
I mean, this is serious. They don't know him, so we don't hate him. It's just, they just don't like it. It's a bad. But shout out to y'all, man. I'm enjoying the show, man.
I appreciate you, Nino.
Remember Rashad McCants? He said it. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk, the way that you dress.
He did say that. Yes, he did. He sure did. All right, Nino, thanks for the call, brother. We're going to go ahead and move on. All right. All right. Thanks for the calls, guys. Let's go right on to the next topic, y'all. And we will go on. This one I thought was, this is another one I want to talk about because I've been hearing some things that have really been irritating me lately. Nikola Jokic is having an incredible season, one of arguably the greatest offensive seasons we've ever seen. Hear what I said? He's having one of the greatest offensive seasons we've ever seen. He's averaging a triple-double. I think he's leading the league in rebounding. I think he's third in scoring and was first or second in assists, right? And so about a week ago, I think he had a historically great night by having the greatest, the first 30-20-20 triple-double in NBA history, 31 points, 21 rebounds, 22 assists, which also coincidentally set a couple of records. He now has the most assists ever in a game by a center with the 22. I think that was Wilt Chamberlain's record that he broke. Anytime you break a Wilt Chamberlain record, that's some pretty good company. Also, he's the first player ever to not only have the 30-20-20, but to have a triple-double in two halves of the same game. So he did that as well. So absolutely phenomenal accomplishments by Jokic. Now, all that said, here's the problem. We've been hearing all season long about how Jokic is having this all-time historically great season, and he is, but there's a lot of context missing. And what's also happening now is we're hearing Jokic get put into places where he shouldn't be put. We're hearing people asking, well, I actually heard Dan Le Batard, who is one of the greater sports pundits in maybe the last 25 years, obviously on TV and as a sports writer. I heard him make the ridiculous statement that he could possibly make a GOAT case for Jokic. Yes, greatest of all time basketball player. That's one. And I think a lot of these guys say things for engagement. But anyway, a lot of people in the comments and in chats on different shows, etc., people in my comments are now saying that Jokic is the greatest big man of all time, or that, Jokic is a top 10 player of all time. And I actually had one tell me the other day that Jokic is better than
Hakeem your dream.
Yes, Bruce, thank you. But it's so amazing, and in my estimation, so ridiculous some of the things we're hearing. My biggest issue, before we even get into this, Dom, what are your thoughts on Jokic, man? Let me hear it. And yes, I do watch Jokic, Tim Jones. Good to see you, man.
So here's the thing. I think for Jokic, what I can, I guess, appreciate about his stats is that at least his team is leading in assist. So, if he
Great
got
point.
all of the assists and his team wasn't leading in assists,
Right.
I guess I would have, I would take issue with it. We
Mhm.
do have Jokic has been leading in assists this season, and so was Trae Young. So for a while,
That's
he
right.
was a guy that I think, what did he get? 20 assists in a game as well, or maybe it was 22 or something like that. So he went off in assists earlier in the season, and his
Mhm.
team is second in assists. So it's Denver Nuggets, Atlanta Hawks in assists. So I do think that there's something to be said for the assists that he's getting.
I agree.
Team. So what and Denver Nuggets, what they are is they're ranked. They're not ranked high in defensive categories like
No.
steals and blocks per game. So he's a 7-footer. And so that's what we have to take away from Jokic. So we give him credit for getting assists. We give him credit for getting rebounds. Obviously, he's going to get long rebounds. He's going to get a lot of easy rebounds, right? People are shooting high volume threes. So the rebounds are not as impressive to me. I don't see him battling for rebounds. He's not a rebound battler, in my opinion. Can he get them? Yes.
Right.
They're not impressive to me. I'm not going to say he does nothing for his rebounds.
Mhm.
But, I appreciate Jokic from a mentality perspective. He's got great humility.
Yes.
I do think that he has good work ethic. He shows up to every game as often as he can. I don't appreciate his body and how he, looks like a dad bod and can't.
No, that's key for you.
The lack of athleticism is what bothers me, and I think that that's why we do not see him with better defensive stats. So the fact that he is not a highly defensive player because he is a big man and a center, I'm not willing to say he's the greatest center of all time. If he was defending and doing this, that's what would make him the greatest of all time.
Right.
That's what puts him in the GOAT conversation. If he was the center that could do it all, but he has proven that he can't do it all. So in the offensive game, he's a great offensive center, and I'm willing to say that. He's getting assists. His team is also ranked top 5 in every offensive category. Field goal percentages ranked number 1. Assists per game ranked number 1. Rebounds per game ranked top 5. Points per game ranked top 3. So blocks per game nowhere near in the top 5. Steals per game not there. So to me.
Let me interrupt you. Up until like a week or two ago, I believe he was top 5 in steals. I don't know if that's changed since then. I should have looked that up beforehand. And I was going to say that's why a lot of people say that. Well, he does play defense. He's in the, he's up there in steals. And I'm like, we all know that playing passing lanes. If he was ripping guys, like I got you. That's different. There's 2 different kind of steals you can get. And I'm not mad at playing passing lanes because, hey, those get your team extra possessions. And if you turn them to points, fantastic. But that's, I actually heard, I think it was on Windhorse's podcast, Hoops Collective. I think they were saying that they were trying to explain away his lack of man-on defense, saying that he's outstanding in a number of advanced defensive analytics. Man, stop it. Just stop it. Real quick, shout out Opinion Stated. Shout out Henny Hardaway. Shout out It's Not That Serious. See you in here. Shout out GoatCast Hoops. Shout out Tim Jones. Appreciate all y'all being here. Make sure you hit that like button. Shout out Woodage. Also see you. But yeah, playing passing lanes is cool, but that doesn't mean you're playing defense, right? How many times have we seen, and I was going to bring this up because you mentioned it earlier when you said Bronny supposedly splashed a 3 in Jokic's face last night. Come on, man. Jokic kind of jogged out there, didn't even put a hand up to attempt to contest. I literally have watched the Nuggets play, and this drives me insane, and watched guys go to the rim and Jokic stand there and just look and watch him lay it up and then take the ball out of the basket. Like, this guy refuses to defend. So for anyone saying that he is an all-time great big man, nope, because all the all-time great big men always play defense as well as offense. And here's my other thing. Oh, shout out Mandel Mel. I see you too. Here's my other thing, right? When it comes to Jokic and what he's doing, and it is phenomenal on the offensive end, it sure helps a lot that there's no defensive resistance for him. There's none. Name a big man that's really giving Jokic defensive resistance when he's on the offensive end. On the flip side, the fact that he doesn't play defense allows him to have a lot more energy to play offense and put up these numbers. But when you say this stuff, you're a hater. This is why Listen, I ain't worried about that. This is why, when it comes to it, you look at an Olajuwon, you look at a D-Rob, you look at a Ewing, you look at a Mount Mutombo, you look at a Zoe, a Shaq, all these guys that had to do it on both ends and still, were responsible offensively. That's a totally different ball game. That's why I'm so frustrated. And now we got Bruce in the chat. He's unstoppable offensively. Why? Because there's no big man that's capable of doing it. And it's not because he's that great, and he is great, but who's the great defensive center in the league right now? Stop it. Is he unstoppable offensively in the 1 out of 10 games that Embiid is healthy and plays up against him? He's not unstoppable offensively then, is he? When he has to face a real guy on the other end, all of a sudden that unstoppable offensively dries up and disappears. Why? See, Bruce, I know you're trying to push my buttons now. I'm gonna ignore you on that. That was a ridiculous statement you made. But the point is, you see, I'm sorry, Dom, I get so irritated with this Jokic thing because it's so disingenuous, and people swear up and down how much basketball they know, and they're ignoring such obvious content. Go ahead.
When you have a player like Nikola Jokic, who is dominating the league, when you have another player like Luka Doncic, who was able to dominate the league last season, 34 points per game, make it all the way to the finals, what that does is it shines a light on the state of the NBA. And I can't really emphasize that enough. In the league, the removal of athleticism, the complete removal of athleticism in the league is a big issue, and that's why we don't see defensive players. They don't have to be athletic. That's why dad bods are dominating the league. That's why James Harden still has a career, because defense isn't necessary for every person to play it. Defense, there are some teams that are playing extremely well. Celtics are a great team. Cavaliers are the elite, the very best team in the NBA right now. They just won 16 games in a row. They're playing on both ends of the floor.
Right.
And there's a lot of teams doing that. But Denver Nuggets, what they have is they have Jokic, he's doing so much offensively, and then they have the others on their team.
Shout out Nino for the $4.99 super chat, man. I appreciate you. What you saying about Joker is the same thing we say about MJ. He didn't face the players Kobe faced from the wing position, and again, not true. Michael Jordan had to deal with young, physical prime Ray Allen. He had to deal with Clyde the Glide Drexler. He had to deal with Mitch Richmond. He had to chase Reggie Miller. He had to deal with Glenn Rice. He had to deal with Steve Smith. We got to stop this narrative that Michael Jordan didn't play anybody because you guys are too young to have seen it. Go do your research. We got to stop this. This is a pro LeBron narrative and a pro modern era NBA narrative. It's just not true. Love you for the super chat, Nino, man. I appreciate you always supporting the channel, man. Thank you so much. But yeah, like we gotta be objective here, and we gotta tell the truth, man. Plain and simple. MJ took breaks on D. He wasn't holding Kobe and VC, AI, all that. What? That was his matchup. What are you talking about? Those were his matchups. But it's all good. Nobody's moving the goalposts, Bruce. What are you talking about? Here we go. Yeah. So, but yeah, listen, I'm not trying to, I know it sounds like I am. I'm not trying to crap on Jokic. It's just about, we have to apply the context when we want to talk about he's this and he's that and he's all-time great and he's better than this guy and that guy, and that you can make a GOAT argument for him. Pump the brakes. Now, if you want to talk about all-time great positioning based on what he's been able to do, 3 MVPs, champion, first team All-NBAs, got you. But when we talk about what this guy's doing on the floor, we have to take into context, and we have to stop giving this guy credence for not defending. Like, that's absurd. We got to stop it. Dom, you got anything else on Jokic in his historical place before we open up and take a couple calls?
I do want to address some of these comments because I think that
please,
they're interesting. We have so I see a gentleman, it looks like Henny Hardaway, asking about Rick Smits, players that I guess my question back to Henny Hardaway is, did these dad bods win a title? Anybody who shows up to the NBA with a dad bod likely doesn't have a title. I mean, Jokic is one of the only ones that I know.
That's true. There's something to be said about being a professional athlete, taking pride in that, and also, doing the work to be able to. You only have a certain amount of natural gifts, get it, but you can maximize those with the work that you put in. I watched a clip. Some of you guys in the chat, I sent it to you earlier this morning with Byron Scott talking about Kobe Bryant working out 3 times a day. I know you've seen it, Dom. And he's basically saying Kobe's mentality was, if I work out 3 times a day, I get stronger, I work on my game, I get more endurance, I do all of that, right? If I do all of those things, then in 5-10 years, nobody's catching me in terms of what he became as a player. And that was a very sound mentality. And that's what led to his level of greatness.
Lambeer is not a dad bod. Larry Bird is not a dad bod. Let's stop disrespecting these guys.
No. Now, were they ripped? No, but they definitely not.
The ability to not
look at
Carmelo Anthony couldn't put on muscle either, but he slimmed down when he got to New York.
Mm-hmm. He did. I'm wondering how much time he spent in the weight room, but that's a different thing. Some guys, that's just not their thing.
I thought that Carmelo Anthony was chubby. I do. But he was long and he was lean when he was in New York City.
There we go. No calls on this, guys. Lines open, 904-219-8264, 904-219-8264. Got the number right there on the screen and scrolling on the bottom. If we want to take 2 calls on that, I'd love it. There we go. Oh, here we go. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. Dom, how you doing, Mr. Girl?
Good morning. Happy Saturday. I missed you too.
I know. You called it. I'm like, I might as well join the show. She keeps asking before me. I'm like, I'm just doing it, right? But Bruce is a hater. So we're going to let that be that. But first of all, good show this morning, guys. Great show this morning. The chat, you guys are unflipping believable. Your engagement is more than welcome. Just loving everything about it. Nikola Jokic. Oh, God. Have we had this conversation before? We need to, in a sense, move on from the past when it comes to us talking about big. We truly do. We have to move on, Bruce. I know it's tough for you. Hakeem, your dream. Hit it over and over and over. Yes, hit the button, sir. But that era of big man is just long gone.
Transformer, I get it, but what happened? The only reason I bring it up now is because they keep trying to say that Jokic is better than all those guys. I was just responding. Go ahead, finish. I was just responding, man. Go ahead.
I'm getting to that, brother.
Okay, my bad.
I saw the steam. The steam was coming off your head a little bit. Your voice got a little raspy. Even Dom looked a little nervous for a while. Like, oh, Bruce, are you okay? Like, this is getting out of hand. Let me say something. All right. But no, we have to recognize we're in an era of the non-big man. Positionless basketball, people like to say. Positionless basketball. When you are trying to compare, again, the era's changed, rules change, style of play change. We can't put Jokic in none of those categories against the previous big. We just can't. Because you're going to have a super hard positive to say about the 80s, the 90s, the blocks, the rebounds, the big man era. We have so much to say. That's not necessarily his fault that he didn't come up in that era. He's dominating his space in his space now, so we have to draw a level of respect for that while also paying homage to the previous. All right? Because truthfully being told, Hakeem the Dream would get that boy 40 and 20 rebounds every game.
Mm-hmm.
Every game, because he's bigger, he's stronger. The big man era was just a completely different ball game to be had back then. It just truly was. Honestly, Jokic, if you put him in the 90s, he's playing for 4. He's not even at the 5. They're not even going to waste their time. Like, first of all, you're going to get in shape. You're going to lose that dad bod that Dom loves to say. Lose that dad bod. We're putting you at 4. Because you're not going to be able to fit at the 5. These guys are too alive down there.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to start separating from the fact that nobody as a big plays defense. Jokic hasn't made no defensive all-team ever. So if I was to weight him to the previous bigs in the past, all them guys made all defensive first team, if not second team, multiple years in a row. So defense, of course, matters. Jokic doesn't play any of it. If you want to bring up top 3 in steals, then that's easy to play passing lanes. Allen Iverson was a beast at that. Nobody ever called Allen Iverson a defender. He got cooked on defense. Steph Curry was a top 3 in steals. James Harden was top 3 in steals. It's easy to play passing lanes to get steals up. That doesn't make you a great defender.
That's right.
You can still get rocked, body slammed, cooked, deep fried. All right? A little sauce on the side. Go ahead and make it a biscuits in the basket. But he does not play defense. So when you're comparing, again, when you're going to compare the old to the new, it truly isn't comparable because Jokic is actually in his own position, in my opinion. Offense is off the flipping chart. I mean,
you know what, Transformer, I think you have really a strong point. And I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just before I forget, like you have a really strong point. We have to stop the comparison. Like I don't want to compare Jokic to anybody from the past. I think that when we do that, it comparisons are the thief of joy, and it really takes away from us being able to celebrate what he has been able to do. He is having a historical season, and it should be compared to the players who are playing today, not the bigs of the past, because they just don't play the same. The game is not the same. The eras were not the same. The adversity and the circumstances were not the same, right? I agree with you 1,000,000%. The problem with it is because we're saying that Jokic is the greatest center of all time. So when you say that, that's when we have to compare and say, okay, well, this is what I can give him credit for. And that's why I wanted to make sure that like I gave him flowers. I like Jokic's mentality. I like his work ethic. I like how he is as a teammate, how he shows up for his team. I never hear him throwing his teammates under the bus. I never hear him crying. Does he complain a bit to the refs and stuff like that? Yes. Does he get beat up on the court sometimes? Yes. But you know what? Like that's about all that he does. Maybe he cries a little bit to the refs. I don't have a problem with him.
Right.
When I take a look at his game objectively, you know, his team is leading in offensive categories, not defensive ones. And he doesn't play defense, and defense is a part of basketball. If you are not playing offense and defense, if you are not playing offense and defense, and I need to be very clear in this, you are not playing basketball. So I can't give him high marks, high praise because he's not playing that part of the game. And you just said it, he doesn't play defense. That's a problem to me.
No.
That's a big problem to me. And so that's why I don't have as much respect. I don't think that players today are as impressive as players of yesteryear. So no, I don't have to celebrate players of yesteryear. I can talk about today's players, but we can't celebrate today's players when we talk about all time. Let's stop doing it then. Let's stop saying Jokic is an all-time this and all-time that, when there's 75 years of basketball players and we have two-way centers that played the game, that got the stats and also played both ends of the floor. Let's stop.
All-time great center did.
Jokic is the best center in the league. Let's just say that, full stop.
Yes.
The best center in the league. He's having an historical season.
Yes.
He lifted his team from the bottom. They had a slow start, and look, they're the second seed.
That's right.
You know, but they did almost lose to a Bronny James Lakers last night.
Hey, Bronny splashed
That's
the
embarrassing.
face, right?
That's embarrassing. Do you think Hakeem Olajuwon is going to let Bronny James shoot a 3 in his face?
Y'all better tell us for LeBron on the corner.
Bronny's off limits. Okay. Bronny's off limits.
Oh my gosh.
But Dom, I mean, your response was so adequately put. I'm actually walking around my living room with a lighter, and it's struck and it's lit. I hear you. It's lit. That's pretty much exactly what I've been saying this entire time. First of all, best center ever. I don't even know. That never even crossed my mind when it comes to Nikola Jokic, because like me and you are both saying, there's two sides of the ball. If I didn't see you do it on the other side, then what am I actually weighing against? Like, what am I weighing against? If those guys back in the day were also giving me 30 points, but also registering 3 blocks and was a defensive stalwart at their position. You couldn't stop them, and they could stop you. So like that's a huge part of the game back then. But again, he's in an era where truly saying defense don't kind of matter at that position because these guys just don't play it. Like these guys aren't in the lane, they aren't backing down, they aren't in the post. If you're playing the Boston Celtics, you never get a chance to foul anybody because it's 73.
Stop, man. Why you had to take that shot, man? Stop.
I'm just saying that it was still embarrassing, man. It was still embarrassing. But no, that's a great point, man. We have to appreciate the day, and I think we're doing a much better job. We're trying to appreciate the other teams and doing more appreciation of this era because the comparisons it gets out of hand. The GOAT topic is out of hand. I can see I can see it's more recency bias when it comes to Nikola Jokic because of the MVP. It's the MVP. Like, and we're looking at those MVPs like, oh my God, what center had that many MVPs before? Like, okay, but does that make him the GOAT, right? You know, like, does that really make him the GOAT? Or is he just the best center now? Like, he's the best center now.
Kareem's got what, 6? Wilt's got 4?
If Jokic had the defensive stats to boot,
right,
I would be giving him higher marks. I still wouldn't be giving him greatest center of all time.
Absolutely.
This era is just not as it's not as physical, and we see what happens to him when there's pressure defense on him. When an athletic big is on Jokic, he's turning the ball over like a machine.
He shuts down. Yes, he shuts down.
And that's all we're saying.
You can't get physical with him.
That's all we're saying, man. When it comes to you having to, like Dom said, I'll just reiterate, when you start making the all-time comparisons and saying guys are this, that, man, it is what it is. But yo, Transforming, let me let you go. I think Bruce was trying to get him in. Yeah. All right, brother. Thanks for the call.
Have a good day. You know, and someone in the chat, Bruce, was saying that Jokic is unstoppable. I mean, you put Dwight Howard on him right now, he's locking him up. Any athletic big can guard Jokic. The problem is there's no athletic bigs.
Right. And I mean, all we got to do, I keep pointing to it, Embiid, who's always crippled, he destroys Jokic. Bruce, what up, man? What's going on, brother?
And Embiid's not even an athletic big.
I'm here to defend all dad bodies across the country.
Listen, I got one too. I'm working on it. I was in my garage lifting last night where you were texting.
You're competing though for an NBA title right now, are you, Bruce?
Dad bods need love too. God damn. Hey, but listen though, how you doing today? I'm gonna say this about Jokic, man. Everybody keeps saying he don't play defense. Well, God not gonna give you everything. God damn, he gave him all the offensive prowess anybody could want. Truthfully, I believe Jokic is the best center ever for IQ on offense. I'm offensively now. I'm saying offensively, his IQ is off the charts. I mean,
that's hard to measure, though. I'm sorry to cut you, man. That's hard to measure in terms of saying he's the best center ever in terms of IQ. Yeah, clearly he's got a great basketball IQ, and I'm sorry to cut your time. I was just watching him earlier this morning before getting ready for this, and I want to say he's a great passer from the top of the floor. He's a great passer from anywhere on the floor. He's a passer in transition. He's a great interior passer. So I love that about him. I do. And I know it feels like I don't like Jokic. That's not it. I just don't like. I know you don't like. I don't like the. No. I don't have a problem with Jokic. I like him. I don't like the premature elevation and the lack of context applied to him. But go ahead, brother.
Well, premature elevation, man. He's been on a great 5-year run, Bruce. I mean, goddamn. I mean, when is the point we gonna give him his flowers, bro?
No,
he's been balling for like 5 years straight, bro.
No,
MVP mode, like.
I'm talking about where they're placing him historically all time. That's my problem. But go ahead, man.
All time, man, Jokic can be unstoppable at times, though. I mean, he done shown it. I mean, everybody keeps saying Dwight Howard locked them up, and Dwight Howard is one of the greatest defensive centers of all time. Dwight Howard locks everybody up.
There you go.
So, but I don't want to hold the time. I got to know somebody else on the call. But as far as like Jokic, his historical run, I think it's a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I like, it's crazy that in the past, the past 6 or 7 years is all foreign players have won MVP.
Mm-hmm.
like how American-born player has won the MVP since James Harden.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, James Harden.
Wow, that's a long time, man.
2019, I think. Yeah.
But who fault is that? And now who fault is that? Is ain't no serious centers in the league like Transformers, Mr. Transformers. Like Mr. Transformer said, is a different type of game now.
Facts.
It's positionless basketball now.
Correct.
It's not the '90s when you had all the great centers and all this. Well, everybody say Pat. I think Patrick Ewing is highly overrated, but we're not gonna get into that.
No,
even
we're
Charles
not.
Barkley, even Charles Oakley said that he held them back. But we ain't gonna talk about you.
Oak says a lot of things, man. I wouldn't be surprised MJ paid him to say that. But go ahead, though.
And I believe him, man. Like Patrick Ewing had no game to me. I'm just sorry. It's just
All right,
me.
keep going. That's crazy.
I'll take Jokic over Patrick Ewing any day. I mean, I'm just sorry.
Okay.
And I think before it's like Jokic, man, is a great man. He's played beautiful basketball offensively. And I think it's a beautiful thing. But like you say, he's a liability on defense. But like I say, God not gonna give you everything, and dad bods are running the world.
But real quick, Bruce, I understand God's not gonna give you everything, but Jokic doesn't even try. That's the problem.
Well,
he doesn't even try on defense, man.
He try. Give him his flower. Hey, shout out to
think that he doesn't try. I just don't think that he has the athleticism to defend. It's very difficult to slide your feet when you just don't. He has no muscle. He has no muscle, and he cannot jump.
But Dom, when you watch this guy literally let people go past him and watch him get layups, like. That to me is not right.
He cannot slide. It's the same problem. Look, multiple. You see it with everybody that is not athletic. That's what you see. I mean, James Harden is probably the best dad defender. James Harden.
No, I'm with you, but here's the deal. This is what I'll argue with you, Dom. I know you remember Greg Ostertag. You're old enough to remember him. He tried. He was a better defender than Jokic. Greg freaking Ostertag. He's no better athlete, but he was a better defender.
Stop that man stuck in the 90s. Greg Ostertag.
Oh my God. Are you freaking listening, bro? You know what? Go ahead, Bruce. Go ahead. My bad. I ain't going to take your time, man.
No. I heard you say he put more effort than Jokic. I heard what you said, bro.
Defender. No, nobody in their right mind is going to say Ostertag is better than Jokic. Like, I'm not retarded.
I got you. I know, man. You got that, Bruce. Stop going off the goddamn rails, man.
And I'm going to say this again, Bruce. Greg Ostertag doesn't have a title.
Yeah, great point. Or an MVP.
So when you think about the fact that guys can't defend, most guys that can't defend don't have a title. Most of them.
Yeah, touche.
Teams are built in order for that superstar player that can't defend to be protected on defense.
Yeah, that's true.
Built that way.
Yep.
So the protection is there. That's why he has the one. Because he can't defend, that's why he didn't repeat.
No question.
So Jokic didn't defend in the year they won a title? I mean, what was that? He played a little bit of defense that year, I guess.
I'm not saying that he doesn't try. That's not my take. Bruce
I'm saying he doesn't
try. I'm not saying that he doesn't try. I'm saying he does defend. I'm saying that he is a piss poor defender. That's what I'm saying. And that might as well be just as good as not. Hold on. That might as well be just as good as not defending. If you cannot.
Hold on, Bruce. Hold on.
All right.
He's a 7-footer, and he is not leading in any defensive stats as a quote unquote superstar in the league, right? So we say that Jokic is a superstar in the league, but he doesn't lead in any defensive stats.
There you go. Bruce, go ahead, finish it up, and then I'm gonna let you go, man. Go ahead.
Is it his dad bod or is it his mentality? Like, is it a mentality thing, or you just think he's too fat to move around?
You heard me. I don't think he has no athleticism. I don't think he's got so much fat on him. I think his arms are like strangely skinny. It's how he's built. So he has no strength in his arms. His legs have no lift, so he cannot jump. That's why he can't lead in blocks. He can't dunk the ball. I mean, there's no athleticism there. No, he cannot slide. He cannot move quickly. He can't run. You guys see him running up and down the court? First of all, when he's bringing the ball down, he's liable to get stripped because he's not a ball handler, but yet galloping down the court. Okay. And then
or defensive coaching.
And he's turning the ball over. Okay. Because he's insisting upon bringing the ball down the court, and he cannot slide his feet. He cannot move. He cannot run fast. When you see him play in the second half, he's winded. In playoff, we're going to see this in the postseason. We're going to see him get really tired in the postseason. We're going to see him barely be able to make it down the court in the second half. He says he's playing the best basketball of his life. That is what I'm hoping to see in the postseason from you.
Right.
Damn, Dominic, you got me looking at my dad, boy. I'm ready to go to the gym now. Even more.
Here's the thing, and I want to be clear in this, because I don't want people to think that like I am a body shamer, that I don't think that there's a market for all bodies. It's just that there's 400 players in the NBA. Am I right about that? There's 400 people that make it to the NBA. 425. Okay, so that's how many spots are in the NBA. What do you expect to see on the floor? You expect to see the best collection of athletes, athleticism, and skill. I don't expect to see a fat player in the NBA finals.
Yeah, that's true.
So because the NBA is insistent upon, they are insistent and obsessed with the foreign league and creating an international league. That's the goal for the NBA right now. Because they are obsessed with that, they are marketing European players. They're marketing them. They're pushing them. They are saying that these are the best players in the league. That's why there's no face of the league. That's why nobody's watching the NBA currently, because we're marketing guys that are not athletic. Ja Morant is flying through the air. That's what we want to see. We don't want to see somebody that can't run, jump, or dunk the ball. Nobody wants to see it.
All right, Bruce, I'm gonna let you go, man. We gotta move on to the third topic, man.
Okay.
All right, thanks for the call, brother. Appreciate you always.
All right, brother.
All right, man. All right, great stuff, y'all. All right, let's go ahead and let's take it to the next one. This is one I definitely wanted to talk about. As we just discussed Jokic, we will go right to the next one, and that's as Jokic is one of the top two competitors in the MVP discussion. I want to talk about the other guy who is in the MVP discussion, and one of my favorite current players, and that's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, star guard for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Man, before we even get started, D, what are your thoughts on SGA? Because I think he's legit.
I think that SGA should be the unanimous MVP. I think that he should have won the MVP last season as well.
I think so too.
I think that there's an obsession with, European players that are of a certain complexion.
Okay, so I think just keeping it on the floor, right? In terms of what these guys are doing as players, I like SGA so much. He is a guy that literally makes me think that he could probably play in the 90s. Maybe not an elite guy in the 90s, but really good. He excels in the mid-range, can shoot the three, but is not obsessed with it, can get to the rim, knock down his free throws, is efficient, doesn't have to dribble 32 times in order to get a shot off. Just a real smooth player. And unlike the guy we just finished discussing, he plays defense as well. I am super impressed with SGA, and we'll also bring him up on that next topic as well. But I like him a lot, and I think that that's a guy, in my opinion, I think he's the MVP. I don't think it should be unanimous, because what Jokic is doing cannot be overlooked, especially from the center position. We just finished talking about, how smart the guy is offensively, and he is. All the things he's able to do, run the point, pass the rock, all those wonderful things. But I just think SGA is that guy. Real quick, Samuel Bello, Jokic beats him in every statistical offensive category when you look at the body of work. Samuel Bello, I've never seen you here before. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, bro. Got a lot of great content on the channel. All right. Back to SGA. He's scoring for a smaller guard. He rebounds. Again, the fact that he plays both sides of the floor that's huge to me. And he's another guy, doesn't really have other superstars on his team, but he's got his team with the second best record in the league. And they just went into Boston the other night, beat the defending champs on their home floor, although Boston is very up and down in terms of what they're doing in this regular season. But I mean, they just consistently play well, and it's kind of crazy. Like SGA, he gets 30 with ease, and like I think that's really really good to watch. Not necessarily that I'm saying like scoring is the only thing that matters, but it doesn't appear to me like he's trying to take a ton of shots to get the points up. Like when Harden scores a lot, we know what he's doing, right? We see we see that he's trying to get his points, and there's a lot of players like that. But when you watch an SGA and you say, okay, yeah, this dude's for real. And then again, when he plays defense on the other side, I'm like, okay. But yeah, Dom, where are you on how I see SGA? Because you know me, I'm not a guy that's super high on this era of basketball, but I really like that young man a lot.
I really like SGA in comparison to today's players. I'm not prepared to put him with the 90s guys. And the reason why I say that is because he has an illegal push-off move, and that is what aids him in his lethal mid-range. I don't think that mid-range holds up in the 90s because of that push-off.
Okay.
It's allowed, and the referees allow that in today's league. And I don't think that. And honestly, I saw him play in FIBA. I was not impressed with his FIBA play. So,
okay.
And also, I need to see what I need to see from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder as a team, is I need to see them get out of the second round.
Yeah.
So if they get out of the second round, then I believe in them as a team. I believe in SGA as a player. But I think that his game, I think that we can overlook what Jokic is doing this season because he's not defending. You said that he doesn't even try. So I'm not saying that, but based on what you said, I think that we can absolutely overlook Jokic as MVP. If you're saying he doesn't even try on the defensive end, you're not playing basketball, and that should not be considered for MVP.
No, that's fair, and that's
it should absolutely not. We need to strike him from the record. We need to remove some MVPs. If he's not trying on defense and he's not playing the game of basketball, and I have to stand on business when I say that, Bruce, because you're not playing basketball if you're not defending. If you're taking defensive possessions off, if you think that it's okay for you to stand on one side of the floor and take a break, you're not playing basketball. And I want you off my team.
No, wow, big point. So I guess
why do we accept it? Why do we accept it? Why are you willing to overlook it? You love Hakeem the Dream.
I do.
Love the 90s. You love the 90s. Why are you even willing? Why are you willing, like in your mind, to overlook it, accept it, and then go ahead and consider him for MVP? You think that he deserves MVP votes, somebody not defending. In your mind, doesn't even try.
So to answer that, while I personally wouldn't vote for him for MVP, I've said that on this show multiple times, I will say that what he is doing on the other end is too absurd to overlook. And I think that in
MVP, if you won't give an MVP vote,
me. But I think that even if
that's what we're talking about. We're talking about us, Bruce. We're not talking about the media, what they're going to do. We're talking about
okay.
Does he deserve to be in MVP conversation truly if he's not defending?
Then no. But I was talking about, like you said, the general NBA media and the voters, because what he's doing is too absurd offensively to like not warrant consideration. But for me, no. And I've said it on this show.
He's going to get votes. We know that there's people right now fighting for their life for Jokic to get another MVP.
That's true.
There are people that they are willing to die for Jokic as MVP. They don't care if he wins another title in life, but he's going to get these MVPs.
Right. No, that's a fact. No, you're 100% right. And that's so weird to me. And you see it in football and basketball. For whatever reason, there seems to be a greater obsession with winning MVP than winning championships. But I don't know. Everybody's different. But yeah, no, I hear you on that. So if you're keeping it to me specifically, then no, because I wouldn't vote for him for MVP. Like I said, SGA he's the guy for me in terms of, like we said, what he's been able to do, this season and last season. But Tim Jones does make a great point as well. He hasn't particularly shown up in these high leverage playoff games previously. Now we can always say that there are a lot of elite players that haven't, and at some point needed that breakthrough. So maybe we find out if this year is the breakthrough. But regardless, none of that has to do with the MVP because that's a regular season award anyway. So we can't consider that. Well, we shouldn't consider that. I know human nature is to take everything into account, but we should not consider that when we're talking about a regular season MVP. Now, if you're talking about conference finals MVP and, of course, NBA finals MVP, that's a totally different thing. But we're talking about this. So we can't hold it against him that he doesn't show up or hasn't yet shown up in the playoffs as the type of player that he seems to demonstrate that he's capable of being in this modern NBA. There's an award. Samuel Bello says there's an award for defense, is defensive player of the year, MVP as well. Right. Most valuable player. But the point is, you can win a defensive player of the year without being a good offensive player. You should not win most valuable player without playing both sides of the ball. That's the point Dominique and I are trying to make. I don't want to for you, Dom. Go ahead.
You can also win the scoring title, right? So there's plenty of offensive categories that you can win.
Right.
You know, there's an assist title. So if we're crediting, like if we're giving Jokic credit for everything that he's doing offensively, let him rack up those titles, you know, for leading the league in assists, for leading the league in all the categories that he's leading in. But leading in offensive categories does not make you MVP. Lifting your team, your stats as they lift your team is what makes it an MVP.
Yeah, great point. But Transformer actually said, I think I saw him say it earlier, that we have seen guys win MVP without being, defenders.
Unfortunately, it's disgusting. Yeah. James Harden.
We saw Steph Curry do it, but I will say, Steph Curry tried a little bit, and that's the difference for me with Jokic. But
Steph Curry's just not a good defender.
Right, but you can't say he doesn't try. He's just not good. Here's a great thank you, Transformer. Defense is value. It's not just an offensive award, but that's how many people want to see it.
Defense creates offense.
Say again.
Defense creates offense.
Apparently not in the modern NBA.
Take a look at, when you take a look at the Lakers and their volume of turnovers and how many points they've conceded on turnovers, when you take a look at the points that teams concede on turnovers, it does create offense. Whether the defense was, otherworldly, that's to be said, but, should be able to create some fast break moments and,
Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, so I guess I'll wrap this topic here. For me, SGA is the MVP. Dominic, you agreed with that, right?
I agree.
Okay, there you go. So let's do this. Here we go. We'll open up the phone lines. Hopefully we get a call from a new voice. I'd love to hear a new voice. We're going to stick to the 5-minute limit today. Some shows we do longer, but today we're going to stick to the 5-minute limit. We'll take 2 calls. So you see the number right there on the screen, 904-219-8264, 904-219-8264. Go ahead and give us a shout out. Yes, we have been seeing it happening for decades, Tim Jones. That doesn't make it right. We're saying we still don't agree with that. We'll wait one more minute, check a couple of chats while we see if we get a couple calls on this. I thought I saw a man down, Mel. You can win the MVP without defense. Shout out, Mel. When all of the candidates don't play defense. Can't say that about SGA, though. Oh, here we go. Man down, Mel, what's going on? Good morning, brother. Good morning.
Good morning, Bruce, and Sports T. What's up? How y'all doing?
Doing great. Go on.
Hey, I just wanted to say one thing for the people that try to use Steph Curry as an example of winning MVP without being a great defender or capable defender or average defender, and thinking that that's going to help Jokic's case. When Steph won his MVP, I don't think there was any other candidate that were great on both sides like SGA. So there is a space for someone to not be great defensively when all the candidates aren't great defensively, and then you don't have a choice. And so de facto you win it. But when you have a player that's valuable and elite on one end and valuable and elite on the other end against a candidate that's only elite on one end. There's no space for that other candidate that's a 1-1 player that ever defeat the other guy in any awards or something, anything of that nature. So yeah, I just wanted to say that.
That's such a great take, Mel.
Yeah,
As
Mel.
always.
No doubt, no doubt. Great call, man. Thank you so much. Do you have anything you wanted to add before you get out of here?
No, that's it.
Hey, man, thanks for calling. I appreciate it.
All right.
All right, y'all.
You're the best, Mel.
Man Down Sports, great channel. If you're not subscribed, subscribe over there after we get done here. All right. Looks like we're not going to get any more calls on this topic, so we will quickly run through that last one, and then we will let our wonderful guests go. And all right, here we go. So this one, a lot of people hear me on this show and hear me in my basketball commentary on the whole do a lot of complaining about the state of the modern NBA, state of the modern game of basketball. They hear me constantly refer back to the 90s, early 2000s. That was my era. That's the era I love the most, so I can admit I have some bias there. But okay, we're not even discussing that. But a lot of people say that, they constantly hear me doing that, right? And I'll say, Jeffrey Miles, shout out. Haven't seen you here, man. Hit that like and subscribe for me, man. I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, yes, so a lot of people hear that from me, but I will say this: Transformer, Edward, Bruce from Baltimore, y'all all have pushed me to be more forgiving of that, to kind of let go somewhat of that old era, accept the NBA for what it is. But not only that, but to look towards the good in the modern NBA. And I'm working really hard at doing that. So I want to say first, shout out to all y'all for pushing me to doing that, because it is helping open up my eyes and understand that there are some really good players in the league. And this is my opinion. This is what I wanted to talk to Dom about, because we did, Transformer and I did a members only show, I think earlier this week or late last week, discussing some of the players that we saw that were really kind of different and leading into the next generation, right? Because as much as people want to say it, LeBron can't play forever, right? Steph can't play forever. KD can't play forever. And we feel like, and I'm going to get Dom's take on this in a second. I feel like, and I think Transformer can agree with me here, that when those guys are gone, the LeBrons, the Stephs, the KDs, there are some new guys now, Ant Edwards, SGA, Cade Cunningham, those guys, and I'm sure I'm forgetting a bunch, but the mentality of the new guys, the younger guys, seems different. I don't know what changed or what clicked. It seems like they want to compete. It seems like they're less concerned with teaming up. It seems like they play harder and they have a different attitude. And I think that bodes really well for the next generation of the NBA. So this is one of the main things I wanted to talk to Dom about, because I love her basketball takes. What do you see in this next generation of the NBA, this next iteration, and these high level players, and where they're going to take the league? Good morning, G. Good morning. What's good, bro?
Hey, G. Well, what I'll say, Bruce, is that LeBron, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, these old head guys, they need to get out. So they need to get out. James Harden, all these guys, Kawhi Leonard,
stealing money.
They need to get out. So
Embiid, Paul George, you right.
I want them out. So I want them out because we have guys like you said. First of all, Anthony Edwards, John Morant.
It's a big one. No trouble.
Yeah, I mean, like on keeping it on the floor, right?
So that's so interesting that you say that. But my bad. Go ahead. Sorry.
But like when you have guys like that, Paolo Banchero, SGA, just all these players, there's a lot of really great talent in the league right now, and they are good enough yet. LeBron, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, the old Kawhi Leonards. I need these guys out. We need to get them out. They need to get out, and we need to start celebrating. Look at what the Cavaliers are doing. They just won 16 games in a row.
Yeah, man. Isn't that the third 15-plus game winning streak of the year for these guys this year?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, they've lost 10 games. They've only lost 10 games for the season, and they're playing elite basketball. We're not really celebrating them. We're not really talking about them. Kenny Atkinson is coach of the year, not JJ Redick. That's who we're saying. That's who people are saying is a candidate for Coach of the Year.
Reddick?
Yes.
Transformer and I discussed this. We think it should be JB Bickerstaff for what he was able to do in Detroit.
I have Kenny Atkinson.
I mean, I'm not mad at that either, but
the pickup of Hunter.
Mm-hmm. That's huge.
The decisions he's making are just really good. He knows exactly what's wrong with their team.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to take the Cavaliers, they're going to have probably the best record that they've had in a while. Who knows what they're going to do postseason?
Mm-hmm.
I've got Kenny Atkinson, but regardless, future of the NBA, right? So when we take a look at, these old heads that I think need to go so that we can focus on, celebrating the players who are playing really great basketball today that are, giving NBA fans a little bit more of what we want, showing up to play. I think that NBA future, Anthony Edwards is fantastic. I think that he's a fantastic choice for face of the league.
Mm-hmm.
The league isn't a choice. So you don't get to decide whether you want to be the face of the league or not. You know what I mean? Whoever's going viral, whoever, we can, as content creators, create a thumbnail for and people are going to click on it.
Right.
Those people are superstars. Those people are faces of the league. In today's league, I think that the face of the league is multiple. And I think that it is the European players. I think the NBA has made the international players the face of the league. The American-born stars, the NBA is not promoting them. They're not marketing them. They're just not, Bruce. The only people that they're marketing that are American-born are LeBron and Steph Curry. They have the most nationally televised games.
Yeah, of course.
So what I'm saying? Nobody wants to watch them, though.
Right. Well, I can't say nobody wants to watch it because the Lakers are always going to draw, right? That's why
I can say nobody wants to watch them because the ratings are down. When you have 1 million plus views for NBA games and regular season games, that's a problem. When you're going down in the All-Star game, it's your lowest rating, All-Star game. I mean, nobody wants to watch these people.
True, but I'll say this real quick. That Celtics-Lakers game last week was the highest rated regular season non-Christmas Day game. And that's a lot of what do you call it? Anyway, that's it's the highest rated regular season non-Christmas game in the last 7 years. So now the brands help.
We're talking about 20 years of shit ratings. So thank God. When you have Luka Doncic, traded to the Lakers, that should help the NBA mightily. That's what they're saying. They're saying the Lakers have saved the NBA from a ratings perspective because now you have Luka Doncic playing in a major market.
Mm-hmm. Well, Tim Jones, it's not just the Nielsen rating systems anymore, right? They're doing this whole thing where they're trying to add in the streaming and they're doing, the out of home viewing and all that to try and boost up the numbers. And that's across all sports. That's not just the NBA. So they're trying. But anyway,
NFL is still the only reason why I'm not going to give an excuse to the Nielsen ratings is because NFL hasn't dropped. If people are watching TV, and we have to stop lying about that. The NBA is doing bad from a television ratings perspective.
That's a fact.
They've moved their business model to social media. And so when people criticize the women's sport, we can't do that anymore because it's the same business model that the NBA has.
Mm-hmm.
They're making money and generating revenue based off of, clicks and social media revenue. That's what they're relying on.
Easy, Transformer. Easy, bro. No, Tim Jones says the world has dozens of rating systems, and we're kind of digressing, but I just wanted to answer this real quick, then we'll get back to it. World has dozens of rating systems that can't be accounted for in your numbers. But I mean, yes, but that's actually to Dom's point that they're pushing the international play
on anything, Tim Jones. As far as Nielsen's ratings are concerned, the NBA, nobody's watching it. This is not a debate. So anybody in the comments saying that is delusional.
But yeah, let's get back to we were talking about the NBA of the future, and let me ask you this, Dom. What do you think is accounting for the change in attitude among younger players, that seeming return to competitiveness and real play? What do you think that's about? Because it looks different to me among these guys.
It does. They want to compete. They want to get these old heads out of here. Anthony Edwards said it great He wants to kill everything in front of him. You know, he got so much attention for the, you know, the bravado, right? The will to compete, right? Like that's what he was bringing out, and that's what people really, really loved. And I think that is something that, you know, it does need to come back to the NBA. Kevin Durant doesn't want to compete. LeBron James doesn't want to compete. Steph Curry does, though. Steph
Yeah,
Curry
he does.
wants to compete. Jimmy Butler still wants to compete. There's guys that really, they want to get out there. They want to put they want to still prove that they're the best. Every game that they play, they feel that they have something to prove still. Devin Booker, I think, is a strong competitor, even though the Phoenix Suns are a complete disgrace this season.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, there are players, I just think we're not talking about them, Bruce. They're there already.
Yeah.
But we're focused on LeBron, Steph, Kevin Durant. These are the stories. These are the storylines. These are the players that we talk about. We're focused on the GOAT debate. We talk about the GOAT debate ad nauseum. You know, we overrun so many topics, right? We do it as YouTube content creators too.
Yeah.
Right? And it's because
you got to talk about what people want to hear.
It's just how it is, right?
Right.
We're not talking about the guys that are ferociously defending out there in the NBA. We're not talking about the guys that are getting out there and putting they're giving it all. They're putting their entire game on the floor every night.
Yeah.
Those are not the people that we talk about, but is that the future of the NBA? I think so, but I can't quite say that when they're saying that Luka Doncic is the future of the NBA.
He's not the future. Listen, he's going to be a very good player for as long as his body holds up, but I don't think he's the future of the NBA. But I love seeing these young cats doing what they're doing. And we actually on this show are making a concerted effort now to try and, at least every couple of weeks, highlight a team that's not the Knicks, Celtics, or Lakers, excuse me, right? Just to, show some love to some of these other players and these other guys. Wemby, that's a really young guy who, unfortunately, he's out now, and with God willing, he will be back and healthy next year. My issue with him when he first, before he was getting drafted and whatnot, I was like, the hyperbole is driving me nuts. And then there's the whole, he's an alien. We've never seen anything like him before. I'm like, no, we have. His name was Ralph Sampson, but that was a long time ago. But regardless, watching Wemby's got an attitude. Wemby wants to go hard. Wemby wants to beat you. He wants to compete. And I like that a lot. Like, we're seeing more of that. And I don't know where it's coming from, but I like it, and I think it bodes really well for the future of the NBA. And I think maybe, just maybe, that type of attitude and these young cats are going to bring back some of the fans that the NBA has lost over time. Now, back to the whole face of the league thing, I think part of the reason why that's important is you want a guy that people can latch onto and that guy that can pull the league along, right? Like we saw when Michael Jordan went out and Dream won his 2 titles, that everything ratings wise and such dropped way down. And then Mike came back. They shot right back up. We know that, that game 6, 38 million viewers, I think it peaked at. Game 6 and 98 finals, the most watched game in NBA history. Cool. And then we saw when Mike retired again, immediately the ratings dropped. So the league has to figure out something. And we're talking about domestically because they can try to push the Euros as much as they want. And that's no disrespect to them because those guys are, they're entertaining players. But Americans want to rep for Americans. That's why Cooper Flag is such a big deal, because they're trying to find that guy, especially, realistically, a great white hope type guy. They've been looking for the next Larry Bird since Larry Bird retired, right? So if you can find an American player that can really hook the American fan and bring him in, right? Tim Jones was speaking to the international appeal. We get it. China, India, the NBA is pushing hard trying to get into India now. Why? India is the most populous nation in the world. So you already got a hook in China. If you can get into India, they're doing a lot in Africa. If you can get into that continent, right? Now you're pulling their money, you're pulling their people, you're pulling more players, et cetera, et cetera. So the NBA knows what they're doing, but they can't forget about the domestic market. And it almost seems like to an extent they've done that.
Bruce, the foreign players have the mentality. Honestly, like they have the mentality down, they have the will to compete. They show up. They want to play. They're there most games. Their time in attendance is pretty up there, right? The American-born players, that are showing that they want to compete, the John Morants, right? The Anthony Edwards, the NBA isn't supporting them. So you brought up Michael Jordan, and that's a great point. NBA fully backed Michael Jordan, marketed Michael Jordan. So if they're not marketing Ant-Mans and they're not marketing John Morant's, right? I mean, Nike right now has a commercial with John Morant. I mean, he's flying through the air. He's above the earth practically.
Right.
It's amazing. The NBA isn't marketing John Morant, a guy who's flying through the air, a guy who dunked on Victor Wembanyama.
I think they just want to see how long he can stay out of trouble before they put the muscle behind him. That's what I think.
I just don't think they're getting. But what about other guys? What about Jason Tatum? They're not marketing American-born players. We don't see anything about Jason Tatum's personality. The NBA isn't behind him. They're not behind him. They let him get benched. Nike let him get benched. During the Olympics. They let him sit on the bench. That would never happen to Michael Jordan. Would never happen.
No,
right?
I
They
agree.
would be demanding that he was in the game. So,
but as you're looking at it and you say, okay, well, if you're Nike, are you gonna put Tatum take time from KD for Tatum? You're gonna take time from LeBron for Tatum?
they couldn't find 10, 15 minutes to put him in the rotation. They played Derek White. No, I'm gonna bench Derek White.
I'm with you, Dom. I'm with you on that.
Plenty of other people to bench in the small forward position. I'm not going to play LeBron James at 40 years old for 30 minutes when he's turning the ball over, 20 turnovers in 2 games. Like, come on. I'm going to find some minutes for Jason Tatum, a guy who just won the title. And there were legit reasons to actually bench Tatum, just not the reasons that Steve Kerr gave.
Right. No doubt.
But I'm just saying, we're not going to find that star of the future if the NBA is not supporting it. They're supporting the foreign players. They're marketing them, Bruce.
Yeah. I'll just wrap it with this and say, I really believe that there is a lot of hope for the future in the NBA because, like I said, I see it in these young guys, and I think a bunch of them are mean and they want to ball and they want to get the NBA. I think they see the problems with the NBA and they want to get it back to where it should be.
I believe that too, Bruce, but I do just want to add that, again, and I know you guys are just going to turn around and call me a body shamer, but Victor Wembanyama he's out injured.
Yeah.
Those kinds of bodies, we see both sides of the extreme. We see fat dad bods show up to the NBA, or we're seeing guys that are not really built for the NBA, that are skinny, that are too small, that are we're not seeing enough athleticism in the NBA, and we need athleticism back. We need to get those guys back. We need to have some more John Morants, but we need taller versions of John Morants.
That's called Giannis.
Williamsons. What'd you say?
I said that's called Giannis.
I'm just saying, yes, but Giannis has no low post footwork. He's
the
lowest skilled big in the league.
His mid range has improved a great deal this season, though. He works so hard. But I think his feeling is what it is. Say again.
His high percentage shots are there, but he can't shoot from 3, can't shoot from free throw, and I don't want him to. I want Doc Rivers to keep playing Giannis the way that he's been.
Exactly. He says, you know what? This is what you do. You're going to take advantage of that.
They might win the title.
They might. They're balling now. But I'm going to go ahead and open up these lines for the last time, and then we will let you get out of here, Dom.
Thanks so much, Bruce.
No doubt. All right. Y'all know the number. 904-219-8264. 904-219-8264. Go ahead and give us a shout, and let's finish this up strong, y'all. Yeah, where were we? So let me check. Pardon me, y'all. Let me check these. Yeah, you're 100% right, though, Transformer. There's only one Larry Bird, and I get that. But what I'm saying is they've been looking for somebody to attempt to fill those shoes since he retired. Speaking of Transformer, what's up, Transformer?
Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on, guys? This show so far. I'm gonna be brief, real quick. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
man.
let somebody else call in. Bruce, I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud
What's
of
up?
you, man. It's
What you proud about?
All right, step forward.
I'm trying to, man. I am.
Bringing in the new NBA, bro. Bringing in the young guys.
Man,
Okay.
you've heard me say Transformer. I love
Hakeem
basketball.
will always be your dream. Hakeem will always be your dream.
He will.
He got it.
He will.
He got it. But no, man. To you guys' point, we definitely need to move on. The dinosaurs, the legends. I'm gonna call them legends.
Yes, please don't call them dinosaurs.
Sounds disrespectful. That sounds a little disrespectful. But the legends of Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James, they're legends, right? Like, and we get it. They're still playing. They're still playing extremely well for their ages. But we, as viewers, and we can't say anything about the media. We don't run the media. We have to shed more light on these younger guys. We have to do a better job of it with our platforms, with our spheres, with our Instagrams, our socials. We have to enlighten. That's the only way we're going to be able to grow the game of basketball.
Yeah.
Is that we also have to do our part
as
viewers to want to open our eyes to other players, not just the Lakers, not just the Celtics. Because we are the marquee team, but these like K-Pam and Detroit is really busting his behind. Turn that team around. That deserves just an enormous amount of praise.
Yes.
For what that kid is doing over there. Paulo Banchero out here making a name for himself in Orlando. Got me wanting to travel down to Orlando just to see some Orlando Magic games while I'm here. The NBA tried to give it to a younger generation. They failed at it. John Morant failed at it, right? They literally handed him the keys. Like, hey, here's the keys. But Ja just fumbled it by his off the field action. All right, you add off the field actions on top of not being able to play due to health concerns. Failed it. They tried to bring Zion on that same time.
They did.
Zion, we've been watching you since high school. We're giving you that Bron James treatment. All the cameras in your face, giving you a label. You go to Duke. You're having a great year at Duke. You become the number one pick in New Orleans. Boom, what starts happening? Injuries start happening. Then the off the court things start happening. Things start happening. We can't have that be our fate. So I get it on why the NBA kind of jump back and pivot back towards, okay, let's just keep talking about Bron, Steph, and KD because the guys that we're trying to put on the pedestal, they just don't want it. They're just relinquishing it. They're allowing the overseas guys come in with that, hey, I want to go get it, the American dream attitude, and they're taking over our league. They're taking it over. Last 4 MVPs are all international guys. You know what I mean? Because they're not coming into the league with that entitlement. That I'm here to get the bag. I was the ish in high school and college. I'm this, I'm that. So I deserve everything I get in the NBA. No, these guys are coming over here hungry. Giannis came over here hungry. Jokic came over here hungry. Like Luka have been playing in the big league since he was 15 years old. Like these guys come over here with a different mentality, and they're telling us that our game is easy.
Yeah,
like it's easy to them. It's easy. You know what I mean? So like let's get that. Let's get that notion like, hey, bro, this is our game. This is an American sport, bro. Take it back. So I think we could do that by, showing the Cade Cunninghams and how them kids are just flat out balling over there. These guys are absolutely balling, and they definitely deserve the praise, man. So that's all I got, guys. Great show so far, and you guys be safe, all right?
Hey, appreciate you,
next time, Dom, too.
Yeah, next time you will.
Absolutely, man. Be safe now.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Transformer.
Yeah, great points by him. And, I'm definitely working because, like I said, I do see a lot of hope for the future. And part of the reason that I am how I am is because I love basketball so much and I love the NBA so much. And just I want to see it get back to the place where we know it can be.
Yeah.
What's up, bro?
All right.
I didn't know if y'all want to go here now, but I got to keep it real. You know how I do.
Do it, Nino.
We missing a part of this NBA and the Lakers stuff. It's separate from the superstar part, right?
Okay.
The viewership is down, and a large part because a large part of our American population are not black. A lot of people that went, if you be at the games, it's a lot of people at the game that's not black, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of them are white people,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what you want. So it was a time that the NBA. This is what they say. Now I'm around these people, so I know. They say the NBA went woke. I'm not sure. I think I know what that means. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they say the NBA got into too much politics with the Trayvon Martin. It started with the Trayvon Martin
Right.
and the. So what I think don't have to happen. I don't know how y'all gonna feel about this. You're gonna have to find a superstar that that has a clean slate and are willing to stay. The NBA gonna have to stay away from political issues for a certain period of time to get the reputation and the viewership back.
Smart business. I got no problem with that. I'm not in any objection to that. It's a business.
It's a business,
Yeah.
and you get stopped, and they miss it. They still talk about it. They tell me, oh, even though they say, oh, I don't even watch songs no more. NBA went woke. LeBron James started doing Trayvon Martin, kneeling and the hoodie. And some people hold that against them guys.
Right. Yeah, no,
Now,
I hear you.
far as the play in the market, the NBA has always been this way, as far as I remember. I don't remember the NBA going out their way to market the Spurs, and they was a great team.
Yeah.
You pick with receiving accessibility.
Mm-hmm. But
So, the NBA need to change how they market, or because I don't think they're doing anything different. They didn't market them guys. We didn't talk a lot about them Pistons and San Antonio Spurs. We talked about AI, which we should.
no doubt. No, I hear what you're saying, Nino. But let's do this, man. I'm gonna drop it right. Yeah, he is. I'm gonna drop it right here, man. I gotta run, and our special guest has to run as well. But listen, we really appreciate all of y'all being here with us. Thank you so much. Thanks for the call, Nino. I appreciate it. Dominique, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. I know you got a lot going on, so again, we appreciate it. For those who came in after the beginning of the show, let them know where they can find you, and then we'll get up out of here.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Bruce. It's always a pleasure, and really great engagement from you guys in the chat. Shout out to everybody that joined us today in the stream. You guys can find me at Sports Tea. You can see my handle on the screen. So yeah, go over there and subscribe if you're feeling froggy. And thank you so much for having me again, Bruce. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt, Dom. I appreciate you taking the time, man. Everybody else, again, thanks so much for joining. I really appreciate everybody. Hit that like and subscribe on the way out. And, check the channel. We got tons of good content there. Whether you agree or not, I appreciate everybody's feedback, everybody's interaction, man. Y'all have a great one. And we'll be back tomorrow morning. Peace.